Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You know what? If you want to be part of this show, you can text us on 81215. Or you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio.
I didn't like the phrase, if you want to be part of this show. It sounds like they could send in job applications.
Well, they can send in job applications. We do get people
Pop
sending
your
in...
CV in 140 characters or fewer.
No, it's nice that we had a guy Do you know our friend of the show jingle, don't you?
Yeah.
If we talk about people who are friends of the show...
We play.
Who's an example of friend of the show? Peter the
Wild.
Yeah, I was thinking of Ross Noble.
Ross Noble, Peter the Wild.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Both
friends of the show.
It's only a leather necklet away. Such a thing as a necklet, if there isn't. Build one, and he will come.
So the jingle.
So if we talk about a friend... Who's another friend of the show? Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I was consulted on that
Oh,
one.
sorry, we'll talk about this one after a couple. Anyway, if it's a friend of the show, we will play this. Friend of the show! But this week we had a message from... you'll tell me in a minute. One of our readers.
One of our readers.
Who... I thought when I started talking about friend of the show, you'd all think, oh, let's find that name.
Well, I think you'll find it was Chris Tan from the Wirral.
I find in the modern age you have to give people a bit more.
I just assumed that we were going to do it after.
You assumed, yeah. You know what assumed does, don't you?
Yeah, gets it wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. So
it was Chris Tan from the Wirral.
Anyway, so he has sent... Chris Tarrant, did you say?
Yeah, Chris Tarrant. No, Chris Tan.
Oh, Chris Tan, right, okay. And he's sent his own friend of the show jingle, and we might make this the new friend of the show jingle because I think it's great that
Let's give it a little listen.
That our readers are building stuff in sheds like this. Yeah. Okay, here goes. Wowzer. No, I
love it.
I keep imagining that Danny Kaye's going to come in at the end and say, me, a swan?
I think it's quite wedding scene at the end of Star Wars. I like it.
It's I like it as well, so thanks a lot for that, Chris. It's good. It's good that people care enough. That probably took, a minute and a half?
Yeah.
And that's, he could have been doing other stuff with that.
Somebody has...
He could have put an abusive comment on a mail online, but no, he did something productive instead. We welcome the Twitterati on this show. I think that's true.
Well, I welcome them.
Well, they tweet.
With open arms.
We get tweeted.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm sure this friend of mine won't mind me telling you this. A friend of mine in Birmingham, I'm not going to name her, she's had problems, right, basically. She,
I feel tense.
I feel more tense than I think I've ever felt in my lifetime.
It's slightly heavy for this time of the morning, but it'll be all right.
Okay.
She has, I
don't like the sound of the Birmingham problems.
No, it's all right. Now listen, this bit,
okay.
this is serious, this bit.
Okay.
She has a multiple personality disorder, right?
Okay.
And she opened a Twitter account and they said that she couldn't open one because she's more than 140 characters. Oh, okay. I loved it.
I was feeling sorry for that woman. And now I've wasted my empathy.
Oh, marvellous, though, that I built up the tension, that I was a bit concerned about, and I didn't mention her name. If there's any young comedians listening, you can learn from that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was well done.
To this show.
You know what they say, YOLO.
Oh, it trips off the tongue.
It does, yeah.
Do they know what YOLO means?
No, I didn't know until, 15 minutes ago?
Okay.
Emily told me. Emily,
I told you
can you believe that Emily is my link to Youth Talk? How did that happen?
Frightening. That's my godson Harvey says that a lot.
That's like Phone Frank about drugs things.
Yeah.
What do I know? Yeah, YOLO.
YOLO.
Go on.
You only live once.
You only live once, and that's the new slogan of the show.
Yeah.
A lot of Buddhists switching off now, obviously, but
they're not our target demographic, are they?
No, exactly. I've heard that the Llama listens now and again. But
no, he's too busy at premieres.
No, not that one. The one at Dudley Zoo.
Absolute
Absolute
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were just saying before, I was pointing out the fact that I don't think there's anyone I hate more on the planet than a dignitary.
You're not a fan of a dignitary.
I know, I don't like that. I don't. They always have.
What is it you don't like about them? Is it their sense of
I find them-
entitlement?
They're a bit stuffy.
Stuffy.
Do you know what I mean?
Ironically, it's a bit undignified, isn't it? Going
It
about
is, but
getting
the
all those free dinners.
Are
and-
ambassadors dignitaries? Because I love an ambassador.
I don't mind. It's odd. I don't have to think about. I'm all right with ambassadors because I imagine there might be a bit of gold brocade on the epaulette, whereas
Yeah.
with dignitaries on suits.
Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of suit wearing, isn't it?
So if you're a dignitary, you know what you're not, don't you? You know what that means that you no longer are, and that's. You're not one of those if you're a
It's
dignitary.
big, isn't it? It's big, that. I think it's going to have to be used sparingly, as they say in recipes.
Well, we do, and we're going
I
to
know,
store
well,
them up. We've already had a request in, Frank, to be a friend of the show. That's
Well,
something of a precedent being set here.
Save it, because if I play that again in the next 10 minutes, I think people switch off.
I
As you
think
say,
you're
it's
right.
one of those, it starts and you think, well, this sounds great. Then you think,
Yeah.
come on! Come on! Yeah. It's, but we'll be all right. So, do you want to hear my latest obsession?
Oh, yes.
Because, you know, I go from obsession to obsession like a bee goes from flower to flower.
I've noted that
Yes,
about you,
pollinating.
Yes. And
Well, to
gathering.
be fair, Frank, YOLO.
And even when I slightly... yeah, well, it's true.
Yeah.
Why don't Coldplay, in an attempt to make themselves a bit cooler, do a slight modification on Yellow? And it was all YOLO. And then kids would say, you know, we were wrong about Coldplay. They're not cold, they're cool.
Even if they
Coldplay.
do buy
They
their
could call
clothes.
themselves Coldplay.
Cool place.
Even if they do
singing
buy
YOLO.
their clothes from the
Get
Anton
me
Jack
Chris
shop.
Do
Martin.
they?
Get me Chris Martin
they do.
now on the phone. He'll be up. He'll be up watching. I bet he's watching National Geographic.
Oh, do you think
come
so?
on,
No,
Chris.
she watches French TV. doesn't
Yes,
she,
it'll
with
all
the
be
kids?
French and Italian.
We talked about that, didn't
Of
we?
course she does.
We all approved, actually.
We thoroughly
surprisingly.
approve.
Yeah.
Education by stealth.
Education
Fabulous.
by stealth,
Can I
it's
text
great.
I text Buzz, my child, in case you're a new reader. She takes him to a show, not a show, really.
Show?
A
What's
sort
going
of a
on?
gathering of
Paul
mothers,
Raymond.
a gathering of mothers and children where they sing in French.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Frere Jacques and all that.
I think it's more master of the house. Everybody loves their landlord, but in French. I don't know
I
why.
hope it's not
why doesn't Al
Serge
Murray
Gainsbourg.
open? Why doesn't Al Murray open with "Everybody loves their landlord"?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Good idea.
Sorry, Emily. I've talked all
No,
over you.
you
there.
didn't, it's
no, I
fine.
did. It all went a bit mock the week.
Oh, God.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Flashbacks.
No, I was just worried about what French songs. I thought it might be a bit Jane Birkin and Serge Gainsbourg.
Oh, I hope so. That's a great song. Maybe I'll play
You
that
like that
next
one?
week. I want to play that next week. I'm opening with that next week.
You
don't
pointed
think
at
I've
me
ever seen you point
emphatically,
before.
like
Yeah.
some sort of Labour MP in the 70s.
I-
It's okay, you've got strange since 8 o'clock.
I quite like it.
The reason I pointed, I think, is I've just my wasp sting arthritis cure has really kicked in this week,
Oh, good.
and for the first time I've managed. My hand for years has looked like the lottery symbol,
Yeah.
and finally it's clicked it. And I'm thinking now pointing is an option for me. So that's
to
good.
know.
I like
So
it.
what
I like
my-
it when he said his tartrazine.
My new obsession is the Soviet Union.
extraordinary
You
statement.
know what? I'm pining for it. I know it gets a lot of bad press, you know, the gulags and all that.
The goulash gets good
But
press.
the goulash was fabulous.
Yeah, it does get quite bad press.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know that Peter Sellers film when he plays the trade union leader, and the bloke says, "Have you ever been to Russia?" And he said, "No, but I fancy it." You know, he said all those cornfields and ballet in the evenings. I've watched a couple of documentaries just lately. It looks great. It looks great. Why
Okay.
can't we become a communist society and just do what the government tells us to do and have big pageants with missiles and have
tell you what
pretty
would
blonde
be-
girls in traditional dress carrying flowers and muscular men in vests working hard.
tell you
Wouldn't
what-
we be
And
happier?
a
I'll tell you what
headscarf
would
on
be-
the lady,
What
and
would be easier?
Yeah.
Definitely be choosing bread when you're in the supermarket. 'cause
But
there
I
would
true.
love, I
there
love
would be
queuing
37
now.
kinds.
also
there.
clothes are on those. Are you talking about? I think you're talking about like those Russian propaganda posters. I'm calling them, and they
Yeah, I'm
always had
talking about the whole thing except
Yeah.
for the gulags. Yeah.
hold the gulags.
Yeah, exactly. Hold the gulags. I've used that line before. But sometimes they just won't. And sometimes they do, but they're brutish.
I don't want to talk about the Hotel
Okay.
Intercontinental.
Okay. But it just looks great. I don't know about... When was the last time you went to a really brilliant pageant? Pageants are rubbish in England.
I'm still on gulags. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
They are. They're rubbish. Come on.
I
boys have to go.
worry, Frank, because I think I'm a bit more Imperial Russia. Let's be honest.
Oh, really?
Oh,
The
come on.
Tsar.
I love a Tsar. I think I'm more Winter Palace. I can see myself, I'm afraid, pre-revolution.
Oh, no. You don't... Because you don't get the big pageants and all that.
I
And
don't
also,
want the
I'm
pageants,
worried.
I want the money.
Yeah. But they didn't... They got theirs, let's put it this way. Does that mean that the revolutionaries, when they chased the royal family, did they catch the SARS? Rubbish.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Our readers have been texting in. 104, Dear Frank, Emily and the Cockerel, I was amazed to discover that Kensington Palace is holding a Peter the Wild Boy Easter egg hunt this Easter.
What?
And I thought I should alert you to this.
That can't... Is that a joke?
No, I think
No,
that's true. I think we've had
Peter
that.
the Wild themed Easter egg
I
hunt.
think we've been alerted to this by
there'd be
email also.
Will there be a child dressed up as Peter the Wild and he gets a head start? Is it like a fox
Who
hunt?
sings songs without words and stares at bonfires. What was his other thing? Eating
Eating
raw
raw
Yeah,
onions.
raw onions, yeah.
Well, well, we have to go to that, don't we?
Well, I think we'll have to go, but I can't imagine who else is going to be in attendance.
It's going to be...
Who's the
us.
demographic?
It's going to be me, you, Alan, Daisy, Sarah, so the whole team,
And the listenership.
and
The readers.
There'll be a lot of Nickelback
you know this
t-shirts.
is on the radio now, don't you?
George the First, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe.
I think he's indisposed. Okay,
He's away, like they
Well,
say
I'm-
about columnists.
I'm up for it.
I'm up for it.
You know what they say about this impromptu... You know what they say? YOLO! There you go. So,
I don't think that's what the kids had in mind.
no, but I've got to, I've got to hold it up a bit so I can
Yeah.
cope.
We've
Okay.
also had a text. Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. I have a headache and have run out of milk. Under these circumstances, is it okay to have a red velvet cupcake for breakfast?
Oh, God, yeah. God,
Yes.
I'm tempted to replay that jingle.
Yeah, have it.
That's one of the most YOLOs I've ever
I'd say,
heard.
yeah, YOLO.
One of the most
Have a YOLO. There ought to be a chocolate bar called a YOLO, which
great
is
idea.
really sweet, but you're just
Yeah.
thinking, so what?
Yeah.
Hey, it'd be a good name for dessert as well, wouldn't it? YOLO
Talking of
cake.
jingles, we've heard from the Twitterati.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Congrats at Frank on the Radio, 4 years. Buzzy's sound effect has been sadly neglected of late.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Please give us
very
some buzzwords
good.
and put this wrong right.
That's a very good point. Now, let me just see if
I'll have a
I can
little.
find...
I'll have a little hunt for
Let's
it.
see if I can find that baby. There it is, yeah.
This is from Ella Marie.
I have to tell you something about Boz for this to work. I tell you what's brilliant, I've realised.
Yeah.
For years, I've had a desperate urge while out walking in the street to just talk to myself and sing, right? And you can't because people don't like it. And but when you get a baby, you can do it. So now I've got my child, Boz. I just walk down the street and talk to him. Sometimes I just take the pram out empty and talk about existentialism, and you can get away with it. So that's a little tip. If there's any mad people listening, get a pram.
Yeah.
I like the empty pram. It's like a thief, old school thief doing a bank job or
You
something.
you used to see people with prams taking bottles back to
Yeah.
the off licence. You don't see that anymore. But
the
you know what?
deposit.
I think we might. I think we might soon. That's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Whereas if we'd got a strict communist government, things would be brilliant.
Is your obsession from these documentaries you've watched? I
Yes.
assumed it was reading, old
Well,
style
I've read.
reading.
I have done some reading as well. I've even been on the blooming web looking at Soviet. The
you-
Yeah, I have a
posters.
theory about the information.
Googling the
era.
Gulag.
Yeah, I mean they had a space race and everything.
Well,
We
you
got a
do
space
love
race?
that period
No.
in time. I suspect you're a Nadia Comaneci fan as well.
All
a bit
that,
later on.
you see, I
yeah.
think it's really good for very young girls to after the 12 hours of training a day. Otherwise, what they're doing, texting, forget about it. Watching Gogglebox. I've only discovered Gogglebox this
Well-
morning. This is the Cockerell's new obsession.
He loves
It's
it.
not a new
For me,
obsession. I've
it's
seen
Soviet
4 minutes
Russia.
of it.
That's more than I've seen of Soviet Russia, to be fair.
Well, Daisy, the producer, does sometimes text in a sort of, she says, turn on the telly, like a major international incident has just happened.
She is our TV correspondent,
Have
and
you seen
apparently
this
this
And then it
Daisy,
turns
that
out it's
sort
like
of thing,
Showbiz Mums on Sky One or something.
But let's not play this down. The Cockerell has been watching Gogglebox. And,
I saw about 4 minutes of
what's
it.
the
other
premise
night.
of it?
It's
Wait,
people
what channel
watching
is it, in
telly.
case people
Is it
want...
Channel 4?
People watching telly.
It's people watching telly, and the camera's on them whilst they all watch the same programme, and then it just cuts from one living room to another, but with different sets of characters in that reality TV world.
And they're deliberately sort
They're
of
responding to
responding.
it. Yeah.
I feel like you're pitching it to the commissioning editor.
It's already been done. This
What
horse
was,
has bolted.
What was that programme? Now, sometimes you think of a programme that you realise you've never had a conversation about, and you think, did I dream this?
Yeah.
There used to be a programme, and it used to show films, like sort of old B-movie films, and in the foreground there was 2 sort of monsters sitting, but you could only see them in silhouette, and they used to
That was
talk
Richard
about...
and Judy, how dare you?
Oh, heck. Oh, yeah. Actually, it was a book club, it wasn't B-movies. No, so you'd see the
Monsters.
film, and then you could see a silhouette, like there was 2 creatures sitting in the cinema, and they'd take the mickey out there.
That was the
You
Muppets.
sure this isn't the Muppets?
The Muppets.
No!
You sure?
No!
That was very
They
aggressive.
were like
No,
proper,
that's when he goes Birmingham.
proper
I think the
monsters.
tartrazine's worn off.
You only ever saw them in silhouette. Silhouette, that's a tricky one, isn't it?
If anyone knows a show where there are 2 monsters
In silhouette.
watching films,
And making comments on them.
Mark,
Let me know.
and it's not Mark Commode's review show.
No, they didn't. No, even though they were monsters, their hair was less ridiculous than that. But no, it's. I'd like to know what that was. Silhouette, I think, is the most hard word to spell ever.
You think so?
In fact, that's going to be my New Year's resolution, 2014, to learn how to spell silhouette. Will you give me 3 months?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Can I thank our fabulous readers for putting me out of my misery? I didn't imagine that programme where 2 monsters sit in silhouette in a cinema and talk about films.
We've had many, many texts.
Thank you so much, because I was getting a bit...
Yeah, it's called The Muppets.
No, it is not.
It's called, apparently, Mystery Science 3000. And we've
Mystery
had a lot-
Science Theatre.
Oh, Mystery Science
Oh,
Theatre
come on, what's
3000.
it called?
We've had a lot of people just slightly adapting it. I think it was called Cinema 2000, Mystery Science Theatre 3000, Mystery Science Theatre... Hi, could that show have been Mystery Science 3000? I used to watch it in America. Cheers, Miranda. You don't think that
What?
was the Miranda that turned me down for that job in that sitcom?
Oh, come on.
Sorry, I shouldn't go on about
Yeah,
it.
she
says-
goes to America and stuff now, because she's got a job in a sitcom, unlike some people.
It said it had a guy and 2 robots mocking old movies.
Oh, was there a guy? See, I remember it's 2 monsters, but I remember it being like the best show that's ever been on television.
I think it may have been the best text in we've ever done, because there's been more response to that than many of the things that we've chucked out.
Yeah,
there.
well, but most of our texting suggestions are awful. But that one was, I really genuinely, really wanted to know about that, so that's
Didn't you want to
brilliant.
do one about Russia this week?
Oh yeah, I did. I said let's do a text like, what do you think you'd enjoy about living in Soviet Russia? And I wasn't refused. It was just not mentioned again. So don't think that I live in some Stalin type dictatorship here, where I run the show.
No.
I don't. I'm allowed to think that I do, but hey.
Just give it a go. Let's.
I think you're more.
what do you think
I think
you
you're
would
more
have enjoyed?
Brezhnev.
Speaking of Stalin...
You're more Gorbachev, actually.
Well, that's a good comparison
Yeah.
because I've worked out because when I've been looking into the Russian thing and generally world history, I reckon if you get a leader who doesn't have a moustache, you're all right.
That's
Oh, do you know what, Frank?
That's a good
You
rule
could
of
have
thumb.
a point.
Yeah, it's if you think like your Stalins, your Saddams, your Adolfs,
Your Mugabe fulcrum.
your Mugabes. I mean, I know Bob's got a pretty slimline job, but it's a moustache nonetheless. If you go clean-shaven, needn't be clean-shaven, you can go Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln is such a good leader. He had a beard and he thought, but I'm not having a moustache because we all know where that can go.
Yeah.
He had the beard without. Fabulous, like a big chin strap.
Imagine the worry now if the next time we see Obama on the news, he's just got a moustache.
If they grow a moustache, trouble's up.
People would be worried, wouldn't they?
That wouldn't be good at all. But so that's the texting. What do you think you'd enjoy about now?
Can't we have Who's Your Fave Soviet Premier?
No.
Oh, God.
What about this for a texting?
Go
Have
on.
you ever picked up a hitchhiker? What happened?
That's a good one.
Have you ever picked up a hitchhiker?
I've never picked up a hitchhiker.
No,
or
I
what?
haven't either. I feel bad about it.
I have been picked up as a hitchhiker once.
Have
or
you, have
twice.
you hitchhiked?
Once upon a time, yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
Canada,
I've been.
in
I've
Canada.
hitchhiked.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah. What was wrong with the person who picked me up? I mean, I was so drunk, and a
To
person.
be fair, you were living on the Central Reservation. Were you on the Central Reservation? Did you just wake up?
I
and then-
disappeared for 2 years. I was living as his slave in Ohio.
Frank the Wild.
You know, Ohio. It's
Ohio.
only if
Only
he ho
happy if-
only.
Oh, Lord.
That's what the kids say. Ohio, only if he only.
That's going to catch on.
Yeah. Is it even how you spell Ohio? Oh,
No.
I know. It's only he, if only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one for the teenage girls. It means you can
Yeah.
look at a guy and think, oh, hi-ho. And it means what you're thinking is, only if he only. As in, if he loved
Get
me.
the order right.
Yeah, and what I'm doing is I'm actually coining
Needs a
youth
comma.
talk on air. I mean, as on air, just like that, ping, youth talk. That'll be, everybody will be using Ohio, no teenage girls. I might see how many other states I can... what about...
Mississippi.
hold on, I might need a pencil and paper.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We have the telly on in the background here. Have you seen that advert? What's that Irish golfer called who's really good?
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, he does an advert now.
Yeah.
Man.
Mhm.
I know he's not an actor by
He's not an
trade,
actor.
but man,
He's not a natural
Man.
born actor.
I think that Daniel Day-Lewis would be a better golfer than he's an... Oh,
Well,
man.
He's not
if he
good.
isn't now, he would be in a year and a half
thing-
by filming started.
Well,
wouldn't he?
oh, God, can you imagine the work he'd put in?
Oh,
DDL.
yeah.
Is that a delivery company?
DDL.
Is he a delivery company?
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, he does that as well.
Does he?
Only if he's in training for a role as
he's
a
probably
postman.
playing. He's doing the postman always rings twice, and even though he's not playing a postman, because the word postman is in that, and also
Yeah.
he's being a jeweller as well because of the rings thing. He's doing that because it's in the title,
Yeah.
and
Yellow.
he's doing it all twice as well. Yeah.
715
YOLO.
has texted in.
715.
Gregor.
It's been a while.
Gregor. Oh, are we allowed to read this? I think.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the state is Hawaii, and
Oh yeah, we were talking about we're coining youth expressions this morning.
and these acronyms they are, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
So
acronyms.
Gregor says he always wants an interesting intercourse.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
intercourse obviously meaning conversation.
Exactly. A
That'd
little
be
less
Natural
conversation.
one. Yeah.
That'd be good. The kind of boyfriend who isn't just all over you. He wants to chat and he's
He
nice and
debates.
interested. He's interested in you as a person. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Hawaii. He
Hawaii.
always wants an interesting intercourse. That's what I like
5-0.
about him.
Yeah.
I'd say
I
5-0.
like it. I wouldn't even say Hawaii. I'd say he's very, and then I'd do one of those hula shimmers. You can't see it, but you know when
I'd
they
buy
shake their
front
shake their-
row
It's
seats
a
to
webcam
that.
opportunity, isn't it?
You know in those songs where they have like the studio cat,
Yeah.
studio cat going. I went to the Kodak Hula show once in Honolulu.
Did you?
I like the brand name mentioned.
All these ladies all come out and go, at the Kodak Hula show. Honolulu. That's great. It's good. It's really tacky. The whole Honolulu area.
Yes, it is.
Fabulously tacky.
We spent a lot of time in the airport. Charlie and Cheem. Imagine if
Charlie
all...
and Cheem, I love.
Yeah.
Well, I do, actually.
Cartoon character name, straight.
That could be
Yeah.
like Ruby and the Dust. That could be a chain of cafes.
Imagine if all world leaders took part in Movember.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, that would
That's a
be...
really good idea.
That's brilliant, because
Yeah.
that would be the end of the world. It would, because they'd all become so bad that they'd press the button.
They would definitely.
Oh, man. Oh, don't talk about pressing the button. I'm in the midst of trauma this
You're going
week.
a bit Soviet again, pressing the
I
button.
might tell you later.
Okay.
What else? Oh, yeah. So I was on about my obsessions before. What about these
Yeah.
for a texting? What obsessions have you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have quite high
And don't copy me and say Tudor Britain.
So you both have
I
quite
hope Barry
academic ones.
Bassara doesn't text in. That's going to be a long one.
Is Barry Bassara a Tudor Britain
I don't know if
writer?
we should say it twice.
No.
Okay.
Carry on.
All right, we'll move on.
In fact, I feel you say it best when you say nothing at all sometimes.
Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah.
I get a bit jealous of the of other people's obsessions, because yours are like quite highbrow, aren't they? They're like, glasnost and art and this.
Well,
Mine isn't highbrow.
bookish.
Not always. There was Zola Bod.
Oh yeah.
Mine is a king with syphilis. I wouldn't describe that as...
I don't know if we can say
Yes, we
that.
can. It's
we?
fine. Yeah, it's a medical term. It's fine.
Oh, is it? I thought
Yeah.
it was those very sharp fruits.
Whereas mine are stuff like I get obsessed with.
When I
like,
say those very sharp fruits, I meant...
Yes.
It wasn't homophobic.
I know
meant
exactly
those,
what you meant.
yeah,
those sort of yellow... Do you know them? They're lovely, but
Yeah.
why do they
Sharon
leave that
fruits.
scabby
Oh,
leaf
Oh, not
on
a
the top?
kumquat. I love a kumquat.
I love a kumquat.
So do I.
They're great. When I used to have Action Man, I used to give him them as oranges.
Did you?
Yeah, so I mean, in the tableau, he didn't eat them, obviously. He's an inanimate creature.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I'd set
aware.
him. I don't
I'm
know,
aware
maybe a
of his
bowl,
work.
maybe a bowl of
Oh.
kumquats in the dugout. You know, when they were up against.
Wow.
I'd love to have seen you with your Action Man.
What happened to him? Have you got those toys, those really significant toys, or things that generally that you never remember throwing away, but they've gone?
Is this another texting?
No, but what is that? I never remember. Throwing away my Action Man would have been like a big thing for me. It would have been like a state funeral.
Yeah.
I don't. It's just gone.
You know what? In a few years, when you're dumping Buzz's toys in the bin, then
Yeah.
or in the charity shop, you'll
Oh, is that
realise
it?
this
Is that
is
what
what
you
happened
think?
to my stuff.
I've still got Big John.
But yeah,
Tell us during a song.
keep your management out of this.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. You can text us on 8 12 15, and people are in their droves.
Aren't they?
And you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. By the way, I don't know if I told you, a friend of mine from Birmingham has got multiple personalities.
You did, yeah.
I just thought for the people who weren't listening, it's such a good joke.
Doing the same jokes at the top of the hour.
I'm thinking I might do it on the hour, just for those who missed it.
Yeah.
Because, it's annoying. Everyone will be talking about it, and then if you didn't hear it...
Yeah.
I
It's
like
like-
everybody talking about it. A nation discusses.
Anyway, so who have we... Who, what, when,
Well,
what did they say? Who are they?
we've
Why?
heard
We've had
from
various missives from the outside
we've
world.
heard from
haven't
Gary
we?
Smith.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like that ne'er-do-well relative of the Middletons. I hope it is. I like him. The one that lives in Spain.
Oh, yeah, whose
I love
house
him.
is called Karzada Bang Bang or something like that.
So the person I would have known
Whose isn't?
10 years ago. Hi, Frank, Alan and Emily. I once picked up a hitchhiker. Don't panic, it's fine.
Okay.
I've read it, it's clean. Because I sort of knew the chap and I felt guilty driving
Hold on.
past him.
That's a lift, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it a lift if you know them?
Although if they're hitchhiking and you know them, then
That's a weird
grey
Yeah,
area.
but when he's-
dichotomy.
When he says he knew him, was he a local, to use your phrase, Frank, colourful character?
You
you know the sort,
It's the
a
sort
bit
of-
itinerant.
Do you mean drinker?
Yes, I do.
I
do
think
mean
you can,
drinking.
you can read a lot into that sort of. I sort of knew. Okay, so he saw a guy who he sort of knew, picked him
Yeah.
up.
Felt guilty driving past him, though for all the time he was in the car, I felt nervous. So after that, I used to just drive past him. It's not much of a story, but I thought I'd share it anyway. Thanks, Gary.
I think I like it.
I do.
If we're doing hitchhiker stories, I can tell the one when
Can I just ask a question? It
Yeah.
just occurred to me. Legally, where would I stand legally? If I hailed a cab and it stopped and I got in and it stopped at my house, and when he said that'll be 18 quid, and I said, no, I was hitchhiking. Where would that leave me legally?
Well, Alan's your man on fiscal issues.
Is this another texting? Where would that leave
Well,
you
I don't
legally?
know how many people from the legal profession we have.
I think we might
If
have
there
too
are any
many
black
plates
cab
spinning on the
drivers, and I think
textings
that's a
this week.
strong demographic for us listening, they should tell us.
Yeah, but I know what they'd say. I'd get my my glove compartment truncheon out.
Yeah. Yeah,
I saw that happen once.
Do they have one of
did you?
those?
Well, but this one cab driver I saw, he was brilliant actually. He was just, jollying along down the road. And there was 3 blokes shoving this bloke about, and he said, "Excuse me." He just took his truncheon out of the glove compartment and got out and wheeled it at these guys, and they ran off. And he rescued this citizen.
good.
Oh,
I have to
vigilante.
say, I was a bit concerned about the meter on him during the altercation. I don't see why I should pay for his bravery. I'm
don't
already
feel
paying
like-
I pay for the police, for my taxes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, my wife and I, when we were hitchhiking, we were in Canada.
you
Now,
hitchhiked together.
yes.
Oh,
and,
God, you're like that poor woman.
no, it wasn't.
she's like those dogs that the homeless
To be honest, we
take
did,
on. It's like, hey,
we did it
they don't get
mainly-
the nice fireside. They have to be out on the bloody... Oh, sorry, I've said bloody. I'm terribly... I apologise.
We did.
I said it last week.
We did lots
It's
of
all right,
other
darling.
travelling with like paying, and we said, "Oh well, just as an experience, we should hitchhike a bit of it." And in Canada, it's massive. It's enormous.
Tightest man in the world.
I'm not the tightest man in the world. That's really hurtful.
Okay.
You're not tight, but you're
So
careful,
somebody stopped.
darling.
I'm not that careful
Okay,
either.
okay.
I bought like 3 things yesterday.
Okay,
Just
so on the
yesterday,
romantic
3 things.
hitchhiking holiday,
2
I know, I saw-
CDs,
I saw the
all
Primark
sorts.
bag.
I wouldn't. Now this is
how did you
unacceptable.
pitch it to her, the hitchhikers?
I didn't. It was a joint decision. She's an adult.
Well, she's 17.
We did the hitchhiking, and these people stopped. We got in, and of course it's Canada, so the lift we were getting was 6 hours.
Did she do that thing
It's a
of-
massive country.
Alan, that's not a lift, that's a relationship.
Yeah.
She did that thing of adjusting her stocking just as they drove past, and then you came out from behind the head.
Well, they drove past us initially, and then reversed towards us. It was a bit strange. And they reversed towards us. We got in.
Can I say that? I love
They
the
sort
idea
of
of wearing
said-
stockings on a hitchhiking holiday.
But you
I
always
wore the
see that.
stockings.
Did
Oh
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
I've done
really
it to get
helped.
black cabs. Easy.
My little tip, by the way, if anyone's thinking of hitchhiking, using the old stockings technique, make sure that they're on your leg and not over your head.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to get people to stop with
That
the
really,
laser.
Yeah.
it really helped once we'd rumbled that problem.
Yeah, well, let me come back. If I can
Yeah.
I bookmark this anecdote, because
Yeah,
I'm warming
yeah.
to it fabulously.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Talking about high tops. To me,
High top boots, we should say, like footwear.
yeah.
YOLO, high tops, what's happened to us?
My
This show's
problem.
got really street.
My
this week.
problem
Yeah.
is what they did to
Fancy.
a trouser is not happy with a high top. They are pushed aside, crumpled. So you have to go a bit twist and pulse and wear shorts all the time.
People are wearing skinny jeans
Well, skinny,
now, so
you see, they
high
suit
top
the skinny
boots work.
jean.
Yeah, it reminds me like those. Do you remember those 2 animated pipe cleaners, Frederick and Philopat? They were. I think they were East European. And
No,
that-
did they
had-
watch films in silhouette?
I don't know.
Is this another texting?
This was if anyone remembers Frederick and Philopat, I'd be really impressed.
They sound like friends of my parents.
They were animated pipe cleaners, but they had like quite big, like shoe type ankle things, and that's what it reminds me of, the skinny jean and the high top. Anyway,
You know, we
we were talking about hitchhiking.
Well,
Alan's
we've just
hitchhiking.
had, Al, to take us into the rest of your anecdote, Sam has just texted us to say, I picked up a hitchhiker on the M40. He turned out to be a roadie for the Sex Pistols. They'd done a gig in High Wycombe. The roadies had been given a case of beer after they'd packed up the van, and while they went back in the venue to drink it, someone nicked the van. That's from Sam Scott.
That's a good story for the
It is.
roadie. That's one of those stories that he'll tell when he's like, I
He
used
will.
to be a roadie and this happened. That's good. Whereas our story's not that exciting.
I should say that it's hitchhiking day. Absolutely. Let's call it not the whole day. Let's call it Rutger Hauer.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
I'm not sure how we got to hitchhiking, but anyway,
No,
we got
I'm
in
not.
the car and this Canadian couple, elderly, said, "Oh, hello," and they set off. My wife and I are talking to them.
Can I just stop there? It's not often you hear brackets used in casual conversation, but this Canadian couple, elderly, that was perfect
Yeah, I can
use
do
of
that.
verbal
A
brackets.
lot of brackets and emails as well. Anyway,
My bottle of water here in the studio is in brackets every Saturday morning because Sarah, the assistant producer, leaves a banana either side of it curled around.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
It's-
excellent.
Yeah.
I've eaten one now, so
so it's closed brackets.
yeah, it's very much closed
Yeah.
brackets, but there's no open brackets. Anyway,
So we talked to them for, I would say, probably about an hour, nothing. They didn't turn and answer us at all. So we're thinking, this is a very weird lift.
they didn't speak.
Well, they said hello and then set off, and then just it felt like they were ignoring us. And we're saying, yeah, thanks for the lift. It's nice, isn't it? And blah, blah. And then an hour in, one of them turned around and went, oh, by the way, he's deaf in that ear and I'm deaf in that ear. They were deaf on each side of their head, but the critically important side if you were leaning through the car to speak to them. And then they turned out to be lovely, but it was quite...
You see, my
quite tense
problem
at
with that,
first.
then, if I knew that, it'd be how far can you go? What is the worst thing we can say about these people? From a courage point of view, how abusive would we be prepared to be in trusting their deafness? Because deafness, it can waver.
Yeah,
But
it'd
if
be a
you
gamble,
really
wouldn't
got to... just how brave are you? No, this is what I'm going to say. God, that'd be a great game. If you know an old couple who are deaf in one ear, why not play that this weekend? Because people just sit home and watch the telly instead of being more proactive.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Boys, we need to talk about Kim.
boys.
Yes.
We need to talk about Kim.
Boys,
Would
boys.
have been a great Korean movie.
Yes. Well, this is not Kardashian. This is Kim Jong-un,
Yes.
and I've got a bit of an obscure crush on him. I have to say, he's a bit Elvis. He's a bit young Elvis, I think.
I tell you what I like. I've always thought it looks really cool. That very short sides on hair.
Sort of buzz cut. I love that.
Yeah, he's got a great buzz cut.
Brilliant hair.
It's called a high top.
Brilliant
is it? A flat
hair.
top.
Not a great human rights record. However,
But no moustache, so he's probably okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
that's what we should look. I don't know if they're
do you
not
think
good.
that bodes well?
They're not good at moustaches, the Orientals.
Eel wasn't a fan either. I don't know where Un stands, but Eel wasn't a fan.
Was it on here that I was bemoaning the loss of the Fu Manchu moustache?
Yes, I think it might
Very
be.
probably.
Why doesn't he get one of those?
Why don't you ask him? He seems a reasonable guy.
Look into that.
He's been having a sort of bromance with Dennis Rodman,
I
the former
know.
basketball star. Have you heard about this?
It's one of the most remarkable.
It's one of my favourite pairings that I've ever seen in photograph history.
It's my favourite politician stroke celebrity pairing since George I and Peter the Wild.
They're such an unlikely pairing. I believe that this may be the beginning of a cop film. That's how unlikely friends they are.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they aren't about to solve a crime together whilst not getting on all the way.
Right, that could work.
Rodman and Un.
Although they are getting on, and Rodman let out a state secret, didn't he, when he went back to America and said, "Oh yeah, he's got a daughter."
He doesn't understand. They're quite secretive
Him
there.
and Kim would be. Him and Kim.
Him and Kim. That's the programme.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't-
If only it'd been if it'd been Mel Gibson, it would have been perfect.
Mel and Kim.
Oh, well, what a chance they missed there. Is
So
it too
really-
late?
Yeah, I think it
I
is.
think there's more of a chance you'd get on with Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, I think. I think Mel Gibson might be a bit more right wing.
And Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't know what wing they are, really.
I imagine them. I like to think they've become sort of, because he called him friends for life. He said he's my friend for life.
Well, the last time I saw an example of Dennis Rodman in friendship mode was when he left the Big Brother house and turned to the remaining men and went, "Hey, Stringfellows." I wonder if he said that to Kim Jong-un as they left. "Hey, Kim, Stringfellows, I'll be there."
I think Friends for Life is North Korean for Bezzy Mates, isn't it? That's it. They're Bezzy Mates now.
I think he might have given him one of those sort of Clinton's cards with the teddy bear holding a heart. I hope he did that.
Ah, brilliant.
But he did say... So he's sung like a canary. He's revealed too much information about the regime. They're not very open. They like to keep things back. There was only one photo in circulation of Kim Jong-un, aged 11. It was a bit Carlos the Jackal.
Really?
For about 20 years, that's the only photo you can see.
Yeah.
I believe he now features... You know, I used to be a massive fan of Kim Jong-il looking at things, that
Yes.
website.
Yes,
With pictures of his dad just looking at things. They've now got Kim Jong-un looking at things as well. And it's just him, like, at a factory looking at a biscuit. And I'll tell you something, they go to the... Can you believe this? This is the kind of regime they've got. They go to biscuit factories and stuff, and they don't wear the white hat. Like, you know,
They don't wear it.
you know when you saw Margaret Thatcher at the biscuit factory?
Or Tim Vine.
Yeah,
for example.
They don't care. Yeah, Tim Vine.
We've not had any texting about Kim Jong-un or Dennis Rodman thus far.
Really?
It's been a very communicative
going on?
show so far, but it seems like, people are perplexed, perhaps.
But Dennis Rodman has tried to sort of intervene politically, which I don't like it when they do that, the celebrities.
You don't think that's his role?
Well, he did say...
Well, surely it's democracy.
Ex-basketball player.
We can all intervene politically. That's what it's about.
He says he loves basketball, and so does President Obama, so they have that in common. And there is even more they could talk about if Obama would just pick up the phone and call him.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It felt a bit like My Mate Fancies You.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I don't want Dennis Rodman being a go-between in international affairs.
What about if he brought about... I must say, the frustrating thing for me is I've just made this series for Channel 5 called Frank Skinner's North Korea. And I feel that I've been slightly...
You missed a pun there. You could have had Frank Skinner's comedy career.
Yeah, but it's a very serious stuff.
Non-comedy
You take it
career.
very seriously.
Yeah, I don't want to have a programme called Frank Skinner's non-comedy career.
Why not?
Well, I've already got I Love My Country to look forward to.
Frank.
So...
Did you get...
I've been to North...
Did you get what we call access in the trade?
I've been to North Korea.
Have you?
Shut up.
I have.
No.
I have...
Hang on, is this one of your flights of fancy?
No.
Oh, no. Oh,
I
you
have-
say flights fancy, I call them lies.
Let's call the whole thing...
Untruths.
Yeah. So, no, I have been.
Oh, have you? I didn't know that.
I've stepped across the border.
Yeah.
I was in South Korea, and when you go up to the border, there's a hut, and down the middle of the hut is a line, and you go one side of the line and you're in South Korea, and the other side you're in... Or you can straddle.
Like David Hasselhoff did.
Yeah, he straddled.
Yeah.
That was the wall,
Berlin.
wasn't he? He's now fighting to keep the wall up. Did you know that?
No.
Is he?
They're going to, because there's a bit of wall left, they're going to knock it down, and he's leading the campaign to keep that wall as a serious monument, basically to one gig that he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I stood and I went there, and I was with the American Army, and they gave me binoculars, and I looked across at a sort of a lookout point, and there was a Korean man looking back at me with binoculars, military figure, and I waved to him, and I waved to him, he didn't wave back. Can you believe that? If he'd have waved back, we wouldn't have needed Rodman.
You could have ran
I'd
into
have
the
had this
middle
sorted
and played
years ago.
football together
We
and
pla-
broken
we pla-
chocolate.
Pipes apiece.
Well, we played football, but we played our side of the thing. I refereed a football match between the Americans and the South Korean soldiers.
Is that right?
It was a very... I'm not making this up. You look across and it looks like there's a big... I thought it was poor. Look at that fabulous city over there. And he said, oh, yeah, look a bit closer at that. And it was like... It was two-dimensional. It was just... They'd put up these big...
They call that
boarding.
Potemkin villages.
Yeah.
I don't like
oh,
that.
really?
At a time we're making 3D movies, they're making 2D cities. I love that. And they play this sort of martial operatic music blast out across as well. So obviously I went and knocked on the door of one of the 2D buildings and said, can you pipe down a bit?
Noisy neighbours.
It was interesting experience.
We're talking about Potemkin facades on Absolute Radio this morning.
of course.
What's your favourite Potemkin facade?
It's been a very oppressive regime morning
Yes, it has.
on here, but I don't know if that's a bad thing. The fact is, I didn't make a list of things I wanted to do by the time I was 40, so I have to improvise. It's as simple as that.
Frank
what about this? Hey! Email corner! Yes, we've finally got there, folks. We've arrived in that little oasis of calm.
I like it. It's a bit Jeff Lloyd, that.
We'll be staying in it for some time, because the email I'm about to read is quite a long one, but stick with me. Hi, Frank, the divine Emily and Mr. Cockles. I'm currently living in Australia and listen every week to your podcast. The other evening, the local wildlife provided me with inspiration for a television show that would ideally star Frank and Mr. Cochrane. That's me.
Okay. Sorry about that,
My inspiration is a small lizard that has taken up residence in my bathtub and is unable to scramble out. Yet when I attempt to catch him and release him outside, he bolts down the plug hole. As we have reached a stalemate, and I always shower instead of bathing anyway, we've formed an entente cordiale. Is that how you say it?
Entente cordiale.
Yeah. And live in harmony.
I was going to leave. I was so embarrassed I couldn't speak.
I just chucked a bit of extra vowel sounds in, I thought.
You did?
As I looked into his kind yet terrified little face, I came up with the title of a new light entertainment television show.
Oh.
Well, we're probably available, aren't we? In Gecko and the Funny Men.
Oh.
Frank Skinner and Alan Cochrane visit houses where small lizards have taken up residence and learn that
David
sometimes
Icke.
those with the coldest blood have the warmest hearts. Scientifically accurate as well.
I
Good
like
work.
that. The coldest blood, the warmest heart. I once worked with a tortoise.
Mm-hmm. You've worked with them all, haven't
I
you?
have. This was...
Yeah, but that's no way to speak about Vanessa Redgrave.
No, I worked with a tortoise, and what I found, it was quite a hot day.
Oh.
And if you held the tortoise very close to your face, the breath that leaves a tortoise's nostrils... I'm saying tortoise since I lived... I always used to say tortoise, but it's one of the things I've become more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Cold air comes out of his nostrils.
That's right.
So you know those little fans, which are a bit fiddly and often break? Get a tortoise.
Really?
Yeah, it's lovely when it breathes out.
Well, I did have one, but I'm afraid it died in a croquet incident.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Did you live in Alice in Wonderland? No.
But we had a lawn and we played croquet, and anyway, the tortoise died. A neighbour killed it during a game of croquet. It's a
Can't
terrible
imagine
story.
how that happened unless the neighbour arrived by steamroller.
With the mallet. Anyway,
Okay.
so, as you were...
The chap continues. I believe the show pretty much writes itself, and I shall CC Channel 5 and ITV2 in this email conversation. Already trying to create a bidding war. I like his work.
What I'm worried about is that we've got a gecko in, and we haven't found a place for Michael Greco.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That seems
yeah.
wrong. Do you remember that advert in the papers? Enjoy the Marbella sun with Michael Greco for a golfing holiday. I mean, it was one of the best things that's ever happened.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I should just say that email that was suggesting Gecko and the Funny Men, he does add, unfortunately, my sexist title excludes Emily from the show, so as compensation, if the lovely
I've
Miss Dean
noticed.
should find herself in the Melbourne area, nice place of the world, apparently, in the next 3 weeks, then I have a Groupon 60% off dining voucher that's near expiry, and I could wish for no greater dining companion. And that's from Declan, originally from Donegal.
I think you and him will get on pretty
I think
well.
he and I have got a lot in common. There's
I
a
think
bit
you
of me
will.
that's thinking, wow, Groupon's in Australia.
There's a bit of me that's thinking, what is Groupon?
Oh, really?
That's no joke.
No, well, that's tremendous.
We've had a
stuff.
text in as well.
Can I say, I heard a programme on Radio 4 the other day about them trying to find oil in Ireland, in the Dorky area, you know, where U2 have got
Oh,
posh
yes,
houses and
yeah.
stuff.
I don't think they're dorks, are they?
Rascal.
And I couldn't believe it was about looking for oil in Ireland, and it wasn't called Emerald Oil.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a miss!
Oh,
I
they
mean,
missed
who
a
are
trick.
these people? Why don't they just call me? Next.
740 has texted in Turtle Wipeout
Very good.
in reference to my
That
deceased
is-
turtle.
That's very good, Turtle Wipeout. I'd watch that programme as well, but I don't know how popular it would be with PETA. I don't mean PETA Czech. Actually, if I might send them a check, if I sent them animal rights,
PETA.
it'd be a PETA check. Anyway, carry on.
Have we got time for a secondary email?
Who knows what we've got time for? Daisy? No, she said. Can you believe that? You see, again, you think I run riot on this show, but in fact I'm under a very strict regime. Honestly, it's like 50 Shades of Grey.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215 or follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Speaking of Twitter, this friend of mine, she has this multiple personality.
Oh no, is she okay?
Yeah, I think she'll be all right.
Oh, good.
Okay.
That's that done then. We should speak about a news story. I'm not aware of this lady's work, but Loose Women star Andrea McLean. Is that how you say Andrea? Andrea.
I think is it McLean or McLean?
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Anyway,
afraid-
who cares
There's a lot of
about
tripwires in this
pronunciation?
pronunciation.
But she's off of Loose Women.
Yeah,
She's off of Loose
I know,
Women,
well,
but
she used to be
also
a
she's off
weather.
the telly.
She's a weather girl, wasn't she?
Oh, is
Exactly.
she?
She was a weather girl. She's gone up in the
I
world.
didn't like the way your interest was a bit piqued when Frank said...
I like the use of the word peaked. Because mine troughed.
She got a part in a film, and
She got out too soon. Now is the time to be a weather girl. On a day like this, she must be thinking,
It
God,
really
why did
is.
I quit too early?
yeah, I'd be all
Yeah.
over the goggle box.
I've missed out on the whole global warming boom. I'd have been brought in as an expert on things, and now look at me, I'm doing loose swimming.
Yeah.
That job, as we know, they're ruthless.
They
They
are.
can go any moment from there.
Yep. Oh, it's like being a football manager.
It is.
It is. She got this part in this film called A Landscape of Lies. And,
I like
it was a
that
£20
title.
million
You have me at
gangster
Landscape.
film, and it turned
How
out
much did it cost?
it was a £20 million gangster film.
Doing good, Nicola. I don't know. When was this
No,
a
I
film?
don't know if she got the 20 million.
No, but she was-
Oh.
It turned out
She
to
got
be
bus fare home.
It turned out to be a fraud. It was a cover-up, but they actually gave her the job, and some other actors, including Mark Bannerman from EastEnders.
Oh, you see, that's got to hurt
But it was a
Greco,
tax
hasn't
bill.
it? Because they were the Beppe DeMarcos. I think that was one
Well, he was
character's
Beppe.
name.
He
No,
was
but I
Beppe.
called them the Beppe DeMarcos.
Okay.
But
Mark
that-
Bannerman was Gianni, I think, if I remember rightly.
I
He
love your
did
knowledge
play
of this period of
Gianni.
EastEnders. Can I just say? It's one of my favourite things about you.
No, I
Yeah.
used to watch it in those days, and I remember. In fact, as he said to me, Gianni, remember me. Anyway, carry on. And the mom, of course, was Louise Jameson, who used to be Tom Baker's companion.
Is that right?
He got that on his Doctor Who
Yeah,
alerts.
of course. It
He was
was on the app.
complaining.
On the app, wasn't it?
Can I say he was complaining this morning about his Doctor Who alerts? Because he was getting spam alerts. He said, oh, they tell you about other things and he doesn't like that.
I don't.
Broadchurch.
My Doctor Who alerts, I should be about Doctor Who. Whereas what they do, they have a lot of. Like, it's about Broadchurch a lot just lately because David Tennant is in Broadchurch. When they leave the series, they don't exist as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I don't want to know
Soviet Russia.
what's going to be next. David Tennant's on Christian O'Connell's show.
Yeah. You're not bothered, are you?
Forget about it.
No.
Anyway,
Having said that, if I met him, I'd be like a giggling
He'd be like
child.
a rat up a drain pipe trouser.
Well, I didn't go so far as to say.
so
But
anyway, they made the film, or
They
they made a
had
bit
to make
of the
film because...
Hold on, so
In
they
order to
made
get-
the film.
Well,
so
they
wasn't
done it as a
scam.
tax scam. No, it was
I
a
think they made
scam.
a bit of the film.
And the
Oh, no,
Inland
they-
Revenue started sniffing around. So what they
I
said
hate
is...
it when they do that.
Well, so do I.
Yeah.
But they then thought, oh my God, we better make this film quickly so that we've got something to show.
And then it went and won an award.
HMRC. And then it ended up winning an award.
What?
But I've seen
amazing.
a clip of this hastily cobbled together film. Have you seen it? It looks rather
No.
good.
Does
Look
it?
hastily cobbled together.
It does rather. Andrew McLean plays a sex therapist, bisexual sex therapist.
All right.
Yeah. She's good.
It's Absolute Radio at 11 minutes past
All acceptable, acceptable
exactly.
lexicon. But she's what I was thinking though is Andrew McLean. I think at Loose Women she's going to be giving it the big and a bit around
Yeah.
that green room at Loose Women. I bet she was boasting a lot.
Oh, then
Denise
it's-
Welsh wouldn't have liked that.
And then it turns out it's a scam.
Yeah, I feel sorry
Yeah.
for a lot of actors because it turns out when they get a job, like the time that's their time to sort of brag about it, and then suddenly they find out it's part of a complex VAT fraud.
It's terrible. I feel sorry for
Egg
the
on their
producer,
face.
Jimmy Carr. That was his first big movie.
I feel sorry for Danny Dyer. Why wasn't he cast? If it's a low-budget Brit
know.
gangster film, he should have been in it.
Well,
it's a
I think
shame
we
to-
can. What about? I mean, let's not mention it in front of the cockerel, but
Uh-oh.
he wasn't asked even to do a film that was just a tax dodge.
Oh.
This is a man who used to be the asthmatic. What was it? What was
Jason the Asthmatic.
Jason the
Yeah.
Asthmatic.
Always and everyone.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This fake film that we were just talking about, I say fake film, the film that was a tax dodge, I know we try not to read out Daily Mail comments on the show, but one of my favourite ones, somebody said they should make a film out of this.
Oh yeah,
Make a film out of the fake film fraud.
that's not a bad idea.
It's not
Yeah.
a bad idea. And
Yeah.
I
Shall
do
we
try
do
and
it?
resist.
Shall we do it?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know
Be
we were
good
going
for
to
the
leap
tax
from
bill,
that
wouldn't it?
suggestion to us doing it.
I'm thinking we should.
roles would we-
We're about
You're
right.
thinking
We're about due now for a film, aren't we? Us three.
Yeah,
Thinking it
I
could
think
bring your
you're right.
tax bill down, is that what you're thinking?
No, but I think it's about, like, for example, what about this for a commercial idea, not involving us, a commercial idea? If it was down to me and I was going to be if I was going to be a theatrical impresario,
Yeah.
With a cloak.
I would get calendar girls
Oh,
on the
God.
road with all the women played by the Loose Women cast. You'd be packed with middle-aged women throughout. Be brilliant. But I thought about us three, right? But I do a bit of gender swapping,
Right.
right? So
This is the
Put it on
worst
at the
idea you've
Globe.
ever had.
Put it on at the Globe.
Emily as
They do
Prince
that.
Charles,
Yeah.
Prince Charles.
Alan as Diana, and me as Camilla Parker Bowles. We can do there are three people in this marriage
That
thing.
sounds good, yeah.
I mean, I'd need virtually no makeup.
I'd need a bit if I'm playing
need-
Lady Di.
You'd need a blonde wig and
I
shave
might
that
have
beard
to-
off.
Might have to have a shave, yeah.
I'm going to have to find some suit at Oxfam.
You're just going to have to stop dying for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will. Happily do that.
Oh, well, it's the next step for us, I think. Shall we go
Yeah.
back to the corner?
Yes, shall we? Email
Corner.
corner.
I'm not going to press the
email.
jingle because we don't have time.
No. So I'm going to... This is from Jim in Wiltshire.
Oh, Jim.
He says...
I wonder
Hi,
if he lives near Stonehenge.
well, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
My parents would always point that out to us on the way there.
Whenever I
Never
heard a
got a good
thing,
view.
whenever
On the,
anyone says to me, I was in Wiltshire, I went through Wiltshire, I come from Wiltshire, I always think, anywhere near Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Always think that.
Everyone says that
Is
to
it the
them.
A404? Why do I know that?
I don't know, but you love roads.
I don't. I just think I think it might be though.
It's worth knowing
So
that.
Jim says, "Hi, Frank, Emily, and the Cockerel. I found myself a couple of urinals along
Oh,
from Frank at the BFI on Sunday,
sorry, everyone.
just before the Doctor Who screening.
Is this a spraying complaint?
Well, no.
Oh, good.
It says, I really wanted to say how much I love your show, but it didn't seem an appropriate moment to embark on a conversation, and I doubt in the circumstances if you would have been prepared to shake my hand.
Indeed, I'm always tense at a urinal.
So what is the correct celeb in gents etiquette? Should I have said hello, or does the standard stare straight ahead in silence protocol override all others? That is all.
I think what you have to do is you have to wait till I'm outside and then do it. I think you have to go outside,
Does it?
get out first, even if you have to pull out it early on the act, and then wait outside.
The act!
You know,
The act!
I don't want to say
Passing of water.
He's-
passing of water,
Jim-
and then wait outside, and then we could have spoke about the old days.
Jim also says, I realise with regret that my very mention of Doctor Who means that any attempt at a night's move on Emily will be doomed to failure.
It was a great day out, that Doctor Who event. I don't know why people always think that people are into Doctor Who are sort of weirdos.
I
Well-
can't imagine.
No, I can't. I find them to be warm-hearted and extremely bright people.
If a little confused about toilet etiquette.
Well, this guy, it's a good question.
It
You
is
know,
a
what
good
do you
question.
do?
I
I
would
think
have
the
thought-
guys at Forbidden Planet are a good dating pool, frankly.
Well, I find, I know people take them in, but every sci-fi event I've ever been to, people just seem very bright.
They are bright. They don't bath much, but
we've
they're
had
bright.
news in. It's the A303, not the 404,
Oh,
which
well,
is
you've
near
made
Maidenhead.
a
So it's
right fool of
good
yourself.
of Fiona to clear that up. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
see? So you think women are no good with maps?
I don't
Turns out
think
you
that.
meant- but
How would you put that in my mouth? As if I would say that?
you're a man, aren't you? Aren't
no,
you?
not really.
Are you not a man?
Not very manly
Then-
man.
Well, then maybe you can look at this
I'm a
script
feminist.
I've written about the Prince Diana. I met Katie Manning at that thing. You know Katie Manning used to be another companion. You know Katie Manning?
No.
No?
Okay, well, she's very nice. She's a well-known actress. And we spoke, and she held my hand throughout the conversation. And I said, "How lovely, Katie Manning." The whole time she spoke to me, she held my hand. And this guy said, "Yeah, she's myopic, that's why." And sometimes, on one occasion, she was speaking to someone, they walked away, and she carried on speaking. Ever since then, she holds them close.
Oh.
What a clever idea. If there's anyone who's short-sighted, remember that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had quite a strange hitchhiking story, though, which I'd like to share with you. from-
Well, this is
Don't mind.
It's
Oh,
Hitchhikers. In case you don't know, it's Hitchhikers Weekend on Absolute Radio, where a lot of the shows are continuing this theme. And Christian O'Connelly's hitchhiking to, is it Inverness? With his team, and that's all being taped. That'll be on the show next week. Looking forward to it.
This is from Ashley. Hi, Frank. I lived in Dubai as a boy. One day we took a trip to a neighbouring emirate where we met a Bedouin next to his broken-down truck.
Love it so far.
Yeah, me too.
I can hear the sand swirling.
We gave him a lift to the nearest town. Not being able to communicate, my mum offered our hitchhiker a biscuit from the pack we'd taken along for the trip.
Lovely.
Our hitchhiker probably hid the entire packet under his caftan, and they were never to be seen again. Betty threw them away at the garage as well.
Is there going to be a... It feels like there should be a punchline. I thought it was going to be a hobnob joke or something.
He then
Yeah.
says, "Talk about taking the biscuit." That's from Ashley
Huh?
in
That's
Bangkok.
strange.
Yes.
And it doesn't paint the Arab world in a good light.
No.
I think we should say this is a one-off character.
Yeah.
And
I don't want the Arab world suing us for defamation.
no, I mean,
do we?
you know, my book Understanding Arabs is still selling quite well.
Well, I was going to say, Frank,
You
you're the
can't-
perfect person to deal with this kind of correspondence.
But you
I wonder
know,
how the sales of that have
How-
gone.
I
since
don't
we've
agree
discussed
that one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch.
There was a
Girl.
biscuit, to be fair.
Yeah, okay. It could have also been a misunderstanding. We know there was a language barrier. When they said have a biscuit, they might have thought he said, "Put these under your caftan, we'll say no more about it." You with me?
I'm with you. We've had some texts in.
Oh, yeah?
Stuart has suggested could be a good subject, famous people you've shared a urinal with.
Well, not shared it. Well, I suppose shared a urinal.
Mine is Brian Lara and Mark Thomas.
You're reading that as Stuart there, aren't you? Not you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty good. Brian Lara.
No, I've only shared with Richard Wilson once. St Albans still on offer, Emily. Thank you, Stuart.
Oh, okay. But that is a good texting, people you've shared a urinal with.
Mine
Yeah.
is the
It's a lovely one for
ex-Liverpool
me.
player Habel Xavier. Is
Oh,
that,
yes.
is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
one.
don't know who else.
I've done several sort of ex-footballers because...
Yes, I bet you have.
Yeah, when you go
Me
into
too.
like the press lounge at West Brom,
Oh, yeah.
there's a toilet there, and there's often, you know, some Alan McAnally or someone might be in there, or John Aldridge, I think, was in there once.
Oh, really? We've also had
always good, though.
a couple of texts that are two sides of the same coin. Someone called Lacretus has
one of the Borsches.
emailed saying, "Shut up and play more music."
Right.
And the other side of the coin is usually listen on the podcast.
What you need
but
to do, Lacretus, is get a CD.
Lucretius, a Roman emperor. I love it.
Yeah.
Lucretius.
It's got
He was a tyrant.
the attitude of a Roman emperor.
the other side of the same coin is usually listen on podcast, but listening to radio today, music and adverts are getting on my nerves. So
And there you have the fabulous variety of the human
I
race.
wouldn't have normally read the negger, the negative
the emperor.
person.
It's okay.
I would have,
I respect those opinions. I
well,
can
it's,
see
it's
it.
just if we've got both sides, I feel like it's balanced, isn't it? It's not as damaging.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, we won't be shutting up. Just put your CD player on.
No, but you know,
They don't have those in ancient Rome.
I want to win
it an anachronism?
Lucretius.
Yeah, if
I
you
want to win them over. Be they male, female,
I have an email.
from ancient Rome, or even fictional.
Yeah.
I know that they're listening now saying, play some music. Or in fact, they're saying, oh, got to be mentioned on the radio. I've decided I like talking now better than music.
I'm a long-time reader and English teacher here in the German Black Forest.
Oh.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Last week I had prepared...
Hold on. We're playing some Black Forest
Can you start this again?
Oh, okay.
I'm a long-time reader and English teacher here in the German Black Forest.
Keep going.
Last week I had prepared an English exercise and proudly declared to my advanced student Tim, this should be right up your Straße. To which he replied in a German accent, oh wow, do you really say that in England? Could the lovely Emily please explain to poor Tim that it's one of her trademark ejaculations? In return, Tim and I would be very happy to introduce Emily to some of the local gâteaux, should she be in our neck of the forest. That's all, Tamsin.
Oh, thanks,
That's lovely.
Tamsin.
What I like about that is, as the music, the middle of the road music continued, your voice got a bit more, hey, and what about this?
I was battling it. It was loud in my
In case you're wondering what that
headphones.
music was, it was Hurst Jankowski with A Walk in the Black Forest, which is quite a big hit.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to hear about Black Forest Gâteau. It reminds me of my childhood, Sarah Lee.
Reminds me of when I used to eat carbs.
Well, that music reminds me of my childhood. And Hurst Jankowski looks a lot like George Michael. Of course, if he brought out a song called A Walk in the Black Forest, it'd be a whole different ballgame.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I needed the pass right just now because I needed to go to the latrines, and Sarah wasn't around, and she's just confessed that she wasn't around because she said, I'm sorry, I had to go and get my hand cream. That's quite a strange excuse, if you don't mind me saying.
I have to say, it is a strange, but I, for the first time in my life, recently have started using hand cream.
How are you finding it?
Well, it's lost me a lot of trapeze work. I'll be honest with you, but that's my problem. Is I do it and then I go on my Kindle, and it's covered in smears.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't think they're a good combo, the Kindle and hand cream combo.
No, but what are you supposed to do?
I don't like the way this is going.
No, but what do you do after hand cream? Because you have got slippy.
Don't you just dab on a towel after you've done it? Is that
Well, what's the point?
I have. I put it on throughout the day. You have to once you get to a woman of my age, has to. But you've got a lovely soft skin.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've still got that. It's in the wardrobe.
We've had some urinal...
Petter will be phoning up now.
It's
all right, it's human.
We have had an email that's entitled Frank Skinner, who I've shared a urinal with. There is a dash. I don't think he's suggesting that he's shared a urinal. We've done that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're well. I was on the St Clair ferry in the 1980s. It travels from Aberdeen to Shetland. It was a fairly rough journey, and I went to the urinal only to find I was standing next to Elvis Costello.
Fantastic.
The ship lurched, and, he wasn't best pleased, but I just smiled. Elvis was en route to the Shetland Folk Festival. I wouldn't be surprised if he's since written a song about the incident. I think the ship lurched and there was an accident.
Yeah.
As Frank Spencer would say, we're in a bit of trouble.
Is someone going to say accidents will happen?
I was made moist by the boy at my side.
Very excellent work.
I had a strange Elvis Costello, but anyway, it's for another time. We don't have time now.
My dad shared a urinal aboard HMS Bristol, this is Ben, which was docked in Vancouver with Mick Fleetwood.
Oh,
that's good. My dad, I think, was once shared a urinal with Dave Vancouver on a ferry that was docked in Fleetwood. That's a weird... Do you remember Dave Vancouver?
No.
He was... he's a big fan of the Brigade waistcoat.
How was he?
God, yeah, he loved it.
In a sort of Beadle way.
Pre-Virgo, he was wearing those.
Oh,
like a Pearly King.
Yeah. He was a guy, he used to do shadow puppetry.
Oh, yeah.
Very elaborate, with like an OHP. And he'd have a man would come in with a dog, and then there'd be another man talking. Like you're thinking, all with two hands, incredible. Mm-hmm. That was Dave Vancouver, who I just made up.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Before we go, could we please discuss this extraordinary woman who managed to get herself into a child's high chair? Did you see this
yes,
photograph?
I did. It's been everywhere this week, that picture. In case you don't know, it's a teenager
19.
who I don't know. We don't know what the background of whether she'd been.
Well, I think we do. She's clearly a student, because who else would do that?
And is she a student?
She must be.
And she sat in a child's high chair and got wedged. And the picture is her sort of lying on the floor.
On her
it's
phone.
toppled. It's toppled, or she's laid down. She's on like a pink iPhone, looking smug, I thought. Looking a bit smug.
Really
I didn't
nice.
warm to her.
I
I
didn't.
thought drunk, because it says at a
Well, be
party.
careful. We can't say she was drunk, though.
No.
She may have had a drink, she may not.
We can say she was a student, though.
Was she a student?
Yeah, I believe she was.
Anyway, what she was
We're
trapped
all
in a high
students
chair.
in many ways.
We are of
Trapped in a
life.
high chair, and the
But you see,
firefighters came to rescue her from a high chair, and one of the firemen said, "You would have thought she would have known better at that age." Zing. That's putting her in a place, isn't it?
I-
see, we'd
don't-
used cones in it. When we did hijinks, it was cones.
Traffic cones on
all
the
the
head.
way, whereas now-
cliched students.
Yeah, we were cliched students. They've got kiddies and things now. Maybe that's why they've got high chairs.
I wouldn't feel
Teenage pregnancy.
I wouldn't feel too good though if my house burnt down with all my family in it, and the fireman said, "So sorry, but we had to stop off because a teenager got
True.
wedged in a
True
high
enough.
chair."
If I'd got stuck in it, I'd have just faced it out and told everybody that I was a tennis umpire.
I'd have just gone around in it. Yeah,
I have to take that when I go out for dinner with Stephen Merchant. I take that with me anyway. A high chair.
it's a good.
Gotta be prepared.
When I go to the Hampton Court Maze, being a naturally helpful person, I go in my high chair and
Yeah.
just call out instructions.
Yeah, they
She
don't
could have
mind
done
that,
all
do
those
they?
things. Instead, you just lay there on a pink iPhone. Get over it.
Needing help.
I like that you object to the colour of the iPhone.
No, it just says something about the person. Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting though. She
Don't
was
like
so
pranks.
she was so tightly held by the IT. I don't know if you studied this picture, but even on her side, it kept her muffin top completely in place.
Oh my God.
And I think that's an interesting tip for people. You know, sometimes when you lie down, your muffin top sags.
Yeah.
This kept it right up there firm. Such was the strength of its grip. So, well done.
The high chair as girdle, is that what you're suggesting?
I'll tell you what, though, when we told this story, that Sarah, our young assistant producer, said, I looked at that picture, it was the funniest thing I ever... This is what happens when you become a parent. You become
Yeah.
such a stuffy... I thought to myself, well, where is that child going to have breakfast the next morning? And that's what's happened to me, guys. So be warned. Once you cross the house, you don't go back. So, look... thanks very much for everyone who texted and that today. Even the person who hated us.
Yeah. There's room for all in our church.
Yeah, they still pay 50p to tell us, and that makes me feel better. Okay, so if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. We love you all, thank you. Now get out.
This is
Frank Skinner.